Ladies and gentlemen, WikiLeaks did not leak anything. I don't know who leaked it, but since there's no mention of Obama and his administration or regime in any of these tens of thousands of documents, I'd have to say somebody in the regime leaked them. But WikiLeaks did not leak them. They just published them. WikiLeaks is just a sponge, a useful idiot sitting there over in the UK, and some disgruntled military guy in Afghanistan somehow has access to all of this and hands it over. In the meantime, is Scooter Libby involved in this? Remember the Valerie Plame leak? And you remember how exercised the entire media structure was. We had to go get Valerie Plame. We had to go get Scooter Libby. We had to put Karl Rove. We had to frog march him out of the White House. We had to put him in jail. And now, it's okay. No big deal. Because this fits the template. U.S. bad. U.S. commits war crimes. So the media loves this. In fact, we're going to go back in time, and we're going to show you Obama back in 1980, maybe 93, whatever it was. Obama was big on bringing Daniel Ellsberg into Illinois. Bottom line is a lot of respect for Daniel Ellsberg, who did what? The Pentagon Papers about the Vietnam War. The release of some 91,000 secret U.S. military documents on the Afghanistan war is just the beginning, according to the WikiLeaks founder. Have you seen this guy? Have you seen this guy? You know, a 10-mile-per-hour breeze would knock the guy over. The documents cover some known aspects in the troubled 9-year conflict. U.S. operations forces have targeted militants without trial. They've killed the enemy without giving them a trial. Outrageous. That's what's lurking in the next release of secret documents. American military have killed the enemy without giving them a trial. What have we come to? Well, Afghans have been killed by accident. Why? That is unheard of. That is unheard of in any war anywhere in the history of the world. That civilians have been killed by accident? That's unheard of. Do you realize what this says about us? How guilty, how rotten to the core can this country be? Innocent Afghan citizens killed by accident. It's actually non-news. Still, they are also included unreported incidents of Afghan civilian killings and covert operations against Taliban figures. Really? You mean to tell me that in a war, the U.S. military is engaging in covert operations against the enemy? We are doing secret operations against the enemy. Should never not know what we have planned for them. Is that what we're supposed to believe now? This is a crime, committing covert operations against Taliban figures. Taliban's the enemy. What, is it not fair to do secret stuff against them? And we have to telegraph what we're going to do in advance so they know what's coming? And this line is merely a regurgitation of the two earlier points above. This is how thin the gruel is on all this. U.S. officials have been infuriated by alleged Pakistani intelligence cooperation with the very insurgent groups bent on killing Americans. Well, of course, anybody would be infuriated if it's happening. What's news about this? Still, they also included unreported incidents of Afghan civilian killings and covert That's the second time they mentioned this. White House National Security Advisor Jen Jones said that the release of the documents put the lives of Americans and our partners at risk. In a statement, he took pains to point out that the documents describe a period from January 2004 to December 2009, mostly during the administration of the Bush people. Well, these aren't just crimes. These are war crimes. Do you realize what a rotten scum of a country we've become, all because of George W. Bush? Isn't it amazing that 91,000 secret documents have been published and not one of them mentions the Obama regime? Not one. 91,000 pages. Not one of them even mentions Bush's tax cuts. Not one of them mentions Obama at all, or anybody in his regime. Jones noted the time period was before Obama announced a new strategy. Just in case there's any doubt that General Jones is working for the regime, it's an obvious requirement that any and all Obama officials must blame Mr. Bush, and Jones is right in line here. So now we have a strategy that will please the America-hating radicals at WikiLeaks, the America-hating radicals in this country, the America-hating radicals all over. We are doing secret operations against the enemy. We are accidentally killing civilians. And all of it happened before Obama was immaculated. And the Pakistanis are working with our enemies. Why? Who would believe that one group of Muslims would work with another against us? Who would ever think that? No wonder people are ticked off at this. This story goes on. Pakistan's powerful spy agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence, said today the accusations it had close connections to Taliban militants were malicious and unsubstantiated. The New York Times says the raw intelligence assessments by lower-level military officers suggest that Pakistan allows representatives of its spy service to meet directly with the Taliban in secret strategery sessions to organize networks of militant groups that fight against American soldiers. And this is news? This is something worth being leaked? You had no idea how rotten your country was, did you? And now you do. The New York Times, happy to point it all out. I wonder if this means Obama will be giving back his Nobel Peace Prize. WikiLeaks says evidence of war crimes and WikiLeaks doesn't say anything. WikiLeaks is the vessel. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, however you pronounce it, says there appears to be evidence of war crimes in the thousands of pages of leaked U.S. military documents on the war in Afghanistan. Now, remember, Obama had a historic speech in which, when he was a state senator, courageously announced his opposition to the Iraq War, talked about how he wasn't against all wars. He was for the war in Afghanistan. He said the war in Iraq was a distraction created by Karl Rove, distract from the terrible economy of 4% unemployment and 4% GDP. And here's the White House, Jim Jones, everybody, they're saying that they are outraged at the release of classified documents, secret documents. Well, does Obama really object to the publishing of classified documents? When Obama was a student at Columbia, he thought Daniel Ellsberg was a hero. Does Obama really object to something that undermines the war effort in Afghanistan, a war he would love to get out of today? But let's now jump forward to the Politico. While a senior at Columbia University, Barack Obama, this is 1983, wrote an article angling for a nuclear-free world. And here's the excerpt where he expresses his excitement about bringing Daniel Ellsberg to campus to get students' minds right. It seems that, here's what he wrote, seems that students are fairly aware of the nuclear problem, and it makes for an underlying frustration. We try to talk to that frustration. Consequently, the thrust of ARA is towards generating dialogue which will give people a national handle or rational handle on this subject. This includes bringing in speakers like Daniel Ellsberg to campus, publishing fact sheets compiled by interested faculty. So here's Obama, who couldn't wait to bring Ellsberg to the Columbia campus in '83. Ellsberg, who had leaked the Pentagon Papers about the Vietnam War. He is all for leaking documents back then to undermine the U.S. military. Now all of a sudden he's opposed to these things that show up in WikiLeaks, which, again, very suspiciously contain not one mention of anything in Afghanistan since Obama was inaugurated. Not one.